It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. Yeah, it looks like I might be solo tonight. Y'all have me all to yourself. Isn't that something? Listen, I appreciate you, all of you, for sticking with me throughout the month. This is something that I wanted to do because I just felt like there's so much Black history to learn. And of course, it's American history. But I want to welcome you to the Ella Johnson Show. And I want to thank you for tuning in on this Thursday night. You could be doing so many other things, but you are here with us tonight. And I greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you're watching from YouTube, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. You know, I just want to get more views and more participation and more subscriptions. It would be great. I appreciate it. If you're watching from Facebook, do me a favor and share the broadcast. Now, I want you guys to come and talk to me tonight, because I don't have any guests tonight, so I need y'all to talk to me. I need y'all to ask questions, be a part of the conversation, right? Don't leave a sister hanging. But I am excited to be here and to do this. I personally have learned a lot this month doing these shows, because, you know, there's a lot of things that you do know, you've heard bits and pieces of it, but it's good to know the entire story and to know how to parallel it with what's going on today. And I was just reading something right before I went live, and I had an aha moment. You know how you have those moments where you're just like, I get it. Well, I'm going to share some of that with you guys. Now, tonight's broadcast, what I wanted to just talk about some of the Black towns that were just erased, just things that we were not supposed to know. And I know a lot of people probably don't know. And I was shocked when I found how you have towns that they disappeared. They either run off, they're underwater. I mean, really, and stuff that you are enjoying and experiencing in some of these towns, right underneath it was a Black town. Isn't that something? But it's real. It's real. And I want to get started with that because I think it's very important. And I really do hope that you guys learn something from this broadcast. Now, tonight, we're not just looking back at history. We're digging into its hidden graves. We think we know the story of the civil rights era. We know the marches, the boycotts, the landmark legislation, but what about the stories that were deliberately, systematically erased? Yeah, the methods were varied, but the outcome was consistent. Erasure. That was what it was all about, erasure. And this is why so many people have no idea of the accomplishments of African Americans, Blacks in this country, because so much of it was whitewashed or it was just hidden, erased, getting rid of towns. But thank God we were able to maintain our history. We're going to talk about it tonight. Now, in the North, cities used things like eminent domain as a weapon, seizing Black-owned land under the guise of public good or urban renewal. We've heard that one, right? In the South, the threat was more often intermediate and brutal: mob violence, forced expulsion, and even massacres. Yeah, I know here in Florida, we got the Rosewood Massacre, we have Tulsa, we have the Wilmington, so many massacres, Coy, and we talked about some of them this month. We still have some ways to go and some more. Now, these massacres and all these things, they weren't accidents. You know that, right? They were systemic actions that stripped families of their generational wealth. Oh, when I read this stuff, I was like, what? It displaced thousands, left deep, unhealed wounds that persist to this day. And tonight, we're going to talk about some of them. Now, I want to start off with Seneca Village. This is in New York. This is in New York. You guys are going to be surprised when you find out what this one was. Seneca Village. Now, there was a guy by the name of Andrew Williams. He was a black shoe shiner, and he bought 3 lots for like $125, right? He bought these 3 lots, and of course, there were black people living on this land. Now, this was a very thriving middle-class community. People doing a population of like 225 to like 300 people. And in 1857, eminent domain changed the game for this particular place. And the good thing about this is, y'all know how we always hear about this happening in the South, like, oh, this stuff happens in the deep cold, they run people off and blah, blah, blah. Well, not necessarily new. This debunks this because this is in New York, okay? Manhattan, actually. This particular neighborhood, they had 3 churches, 1 school, they had a cemetery. And what they were known for is how stable they were. They kept everything right there. They worked together. They prayed together, right? I just noticed they have 3 churches, 1 school. But they did a lot together. Now, what happened? The elite people in New York, they decided, we want that. It's a prime real estate. We got to find a way to get rid of them. So they started a smear campaign. Oh, smear campaign. Now that's something we're used to in this country. Whenever, I'm telling you, by the end of the month, you guys are going to see all of the parallels and everything that goes on. It's like, wow, they're still doing that. You've probably said that like 5 billion times already. So they started a smear campaign, and they said that the residents were squatters. So now they got to make it look like it's horrible so that the government needs to step in. Somebody's got to do something. You got all these squatters down there. When in essence, what it is that they just wanted this location. Okay. So they used eminent domain. The police went in and removed families, removed them, razed the homes, destroyed all of the homes. Okay. Buried the foundations, and guess what they built right on top of this black community? Central Park. See, I told you. So when you go to Central Park and you're sitting there, you see how beautiful it is. Just remember that there was a black town that was right under it. And they just built this right over it, just so these people, this elite, can get their hands on it. And there it is. And you know what happened in 2011? There were archaeologists that they were digging, and they started finding bodies in there. They started finding it. And it's so amazing because when I went to New York for my first time, I went to this African, it was some African museum that I went to, and they talked about a lot of that. And where we were standing was, there were a lot of graves that were there as well. So that's one of them, guys. I told you. And these are places that we are familiar with. These are places that we're familiar with. Now, I had quite a few that I was going to go through, but I'm not going to go through all of them tonight. But I want you to watch this video. Am I going to do the video yet? No, I'm not going to do the video yet. Let's do another one, because we're going to talk about Oscarville. I have a video for you guys so you can see that one. But let's go to, what state we're going to go to next? Let's go to Alabama. That's my home state. There's this place called Cowaliga, Alabama. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Cowaliga, Alabama. Now, this place was thriving also. They said if Tuskegee was the crown jewel of Alabama, this place was its twin. Listen to that. Isn't that something? Thriving. A thriving city in Alabama. This guy by the name of William Benson. He's a son of a former slave. Well, he became wealthy. And see, this is what are you seeing that back in those days that black people had a mind to purchase land? Like they were so dead set on being landowners. I thought that was good. I noticed that in all of these stories. All of them, these were towns where Black people were thriving and they were doing good. They were helping each other, positive, but they've turned it into something bad just so they could take it. That happens still. So they had this school, and it was called the Kawalaga Academic and Industrial School. And what it was good for is that Black youth could get like some good vocal training there, like, and that's local training. I'm sorry, not vocal training. Some good local training, and it was helping them to get jobs like sawmill and jobs like that, jobs that pay pretty well. Teaching them a trade. So they were serious on having total economic independence. That was the thing that drove this community, and what they really were all about is they didn't want to have to depend on anybody else but themselves. So they made sure that they were preparing the next generation to be able to get good jobs. They were making sure that they were setting their people up to be successful. This guy was sharing his wealth so that he could create generational wealth. And so everything was going great. Then the Alabama Power Company, they began construction on the Martin Dam. Now, as it reached completion, the residents were forced to sell their land and relocate. Schools, businesses, homes, everything had to go because they were building this dam. Isn't that something? But there's more. So in 1926, the gates closed, and guess what happened? Flooded. It flooded, and it created Lake Martin. Lake Martin became known as one of the largest man-made lakes in the world at that time. In this thriving Black community, okay? So it's over, and they refer to this city as the Black Atlantis. So now what you have there is a luxury vacation place. So it's like if you ever go to this city, I want you to remember this and realize that this was once a place where Blacks were thriving, and this country, these folks, these white supremacists took it from them. So the next time someone tries to tell you that you're lazy and that you guys aren't about anything, I want you to remind them of what you're learning on the Ella Johnson Show, that quite the contrary, we were very self-sustaining, self-efficient, but it was taken. So I want you to remember that if you don't remember anything. So it was a beaming company. They call it Lake Martin, but we call it evidence. Evidence of what, Ella? Evidence that, yes, we know how to build wealth. That was our evidence. All right. Y'all like that one? I have another one. I'm going to talk about this one after the video, though. We're going to talk about Oscarville. I know you guys have heard about this one. This one was very popular. It's just been talked about in social media a lot, all over. And this is the one, Oscarville. And what's sitting on top of it? Lake Lanier. This is over there in Georgia. So I want you guys to pay attention to this video. It's only like 3 minutes long, but I want you to watch it. Very interesting.
May Crow was buried here at this Gainesville cemetery, but the trail of destruction following her death stretches into the land surrounding Forsyth County, buried beneath these waves of Lake Lanier, where in 1912, nearly every Black resident was forced out. That includes people living in an old Black town called Oscarville. The community was formed in the late 1800s during the Reconstruction era.
There was a very strong community feeling among the Blacks. 300 children that went to some of the schools that were the Black schools, and it was closely connected to the churches.
Georgia history teacher Lisa Crosby says Oscarville was a thriving Black community, full of carpenters, blacksmiths, and bricklayers, but farming was the top trade.
So they really had kind of a miraculous farming growth here while the rest of the state was really struggling.
But then residents were abruptly forced off their land.
So the flashpoint, I think, is 1912.
This takes us back to the death of May Crow. The 19-year-old white woman was found dead in the woods near Oscarville, presumably after being raped.
Typically, the answer to white girls being raped was go to the Black community and just start blaming people.
By nightfall, terror began to reign over Oscarville.
So from there, the rage and hatred in the community, mobs got together and they were called night riders, and they were riding throughout Oscarville and driving out the Black community.
And the night turned deadly. You know, they were waking up by fires outside, fire bombs thrown in the church.
Filmmaker Bob Mackey recaptures those horrific nights in an upcoming television series.
Anytime anything happened, guess where everyone would go? To the church. Well, they attacked the church. People were hung, lynched.
Mackey's series features stories of direct descendants like George Rucker, who can trace his family back 4 generations to Oscarville. He tells the story of his great-grandfather, Bert Oliver, and the entire family being forced off their land.
Night riders came through. They had to leave everything. The main thing they left was property. My grandfather had 100 acres.
Rucker says many relatives died as they tried to flee.
So they got to the Chattahoochee River, from what I understand. They were told, when the mob got up on the bridge, they were told that they either had to swim or drown. Most of them didn't make it. My grandfather was one of them that did make it. He lost some brothers and sisters.
He says his relatives who survived settled in Gainesville.
From what my mother told me, Bert Oliver, he would sit and tell her this story, and he would just sit and cry.
Crosby says whites in the area took over the remaining properties. She says Oscarville farmers were specifically skilled in raising poultry, which set the pace for Gainesville eventually becoming poultry capital of the world.
You have a farm already going, and you had free land, so you just take it.
Rucker says his great-grandfather married his second wife, Beulah, and they built this school that still stands in Gainesville today. By the late 1950s, the Beaufort Dam was built and Lake Lanier was formed, covering up Oscarville, swallowing most of its history. Many believe Lake Lanier is haunted because of the high number of drownings. We spoke to officials who tell us because there is an entire town that includes structures and even forest areas with trees that are 60 feet tall, it makes it more difficult to.
Wow. What do you guys think about that? Oh, a thriving Black community. Think about this. What is one thing that has happened usually in all of these massacres? It always stems around either voting a white woman or they just want our property. In this case, it was a white woman and they wanted the property. Okay. I think that that's always what it is. That's one of their tactics, is to always just run us off. People are going to flee because they're afraid. And in this case, this woman, and they just automatically, you heard what they said in the video, they just automatically assume, oh, it's got to be somebody Black did this. And just killing people, hanging people. And you saw what he said. They went to the church. They didn't care. They didn't care. It all makes sense now. This is why when Woodrow Wilson was in that White House with all of this stuff going on, their mindset was, we got to protect the white woman. So that's what the KKK movie was all about. They wanted to ignite the KKK because they said, look, you got a job to do. You got to protect our women. And you got to get all these Black men. That was just their goal. And that theme carried out all through Jim Crow and everything, guys. So this is one of those stories that a lot of people talk about, but you see it. I thought it was going to be better to show a video because a video can explain it a lot better than I can. But at the end of the day, it's there and they want us to forget. But I will tell you this. Do you guys know Usher, the musician in Atlanta? Well, his ex-wife, Tamika Foster, she launched a petition, an online petition to get people to sign so that they will drain this lake. They want to drain it because so many people are getting hurt there. Because it looks like it's 60 feet tall. Whatever is down there, like it's coming up and people are having boating accidents. In fact, the reason she started this petition is because her son, I think he was 11 years old. And and he died out there at that lake. It was like some kind of boating accident in 2012 that happened. And so she just thinks that it's necessary. We need to remove the debris. People are getting killed out here. And the people that own that now, they're like, no can do. It's just not going to happen. So I really wanted to bring that one to you guys because I think that it's so important. And it's the Army Corps of Engineers. Those are the people said that it's not feasible. Now she got like 14,500 signatures, people that agree with her. So that's the story of Lanier, guys. How many of y'all knew about that story? Tell the truth. How many people knew about the story of Lanier? Because I learned about it. My nephew is the one that told me about it. And then, a long time ago. So I already knew about this one, but all these other ones I'm talking about, I just learned. So if you just learned, it's okay. We're learning together. That's what this month is all about, right? I want to talk about another one. And then we're going to talk about some other stuff I want to talk about. We're not going to go through all of mine because, I get to going and I just get to going. That's just how it is. But this one I want to talk about because it is so... this is the one where I just had that aha moment as I was reading it before we came live. And I thought, wow, this is very similar. So we're going to talk about this one. This one happened in Princeville, North Carolina. All right. This is the town that refused to drown. Now, it was originally called Freedom Hill because a Union general stood on a knoll there to announce the Emancipation Proclamation. So they called it Freedom Hill because he was standing in that spot when they announced it. And in 1885, they renamed it. It was the first town in U.S. that's chartered by Black citizens. Beacon of hope, thriving community, again, doing well. But the white owners didn't want the swampy area land, so they let the Blacks have that. But they were setting them up because they were right next to the Tar River. So in 1999, there was a hurricane that came through there. I want y'all to think about it. And the hurricane I'm talking about starts with a K. You'll get it in a second. Hurricane Floyd is what they called it. For decades, the town struggled getting federal funding just to get a proper levee. Oh, levee broke. And when it hit, they were submerged under 20 feet of water for 10 days. The levee. Y'all remember? Y'all know which one I'm talking about now? Katrina. That's right. Very similar, people. I'm telling you, nothing new under the sun. I've been saying it all month. Now, after this flood happened, the federal agencies and the government, the way they responded, it wasn't, okay, let's get you guys set up. Let's take care of you. This is a natural disaster is what they call them. And so we just want to make sure you no, they didn't do any of that. You know what they start talking about? Buying them out. Hey, let's just buy out and dissolve the town. I think they had an agenda, kind of like Katrina. So they were giving them money to leave, and they left the town, vanished forever. But that's what they wanted. But the residents said, no, we're not going anywhere. I like it. They stayed and they rebuilt. See, they didn't get the help they needed from the federal government. So they said, we've done it once, we can do it again. So they rebuilt. They didn't want to take the money. They worked hard for that. Now, I want to talk about the comparisons. Now, you guys remember Katrina, right? That was back in 2005. Now, you're looking at 1999 to 2005. How many people ever thought about how close those were? It's like 6 years apart. Little did we know in 2005 this had happened 6 years before with the levee. Now, y'all know how Katrina happened. The levee broke because they were kind of in the clear from what I understand. But when the levee broke, that's what really destroyed everything. And so a lot of them were displaced in both storms. But in both storms, the recovery was not about value to them. They just wanted them out of the way. Now, I want y'all to think about this. When they did Katrina and they made all these people leave, they had them at the Superdome. The response was slow. Y'all remember I think there was a Kanye that said, Mr. President Bush don't like black people, and and we laughed. But I think he was right. And so they didn't show a major concern for these people or their lives. They had them walking across the bridge and waiting in the Superdome with no food, no water, nothing, just didn't care. People just dying. Okay. And what happened is a lot of people were displaced. And then when they wanted to come back to New Orleans, they couldn't even afford to live there anymore. Ding, ding, ding. I think that was the plan. I'm just throwing it out there for you guys to have something to think about. Now, why in the world? Why in the world would that happen like that? So that's the one on that. I wanted to share that because I'm not going to talk the entire time here, and I'm not going to be at 2 hours either. So y'all can rest assured. I'm gonna let y'all get some dinner early tonight. But I wanted to bring that up simply because I think it parallels in comparison to what we are continuing to see. And for people that try to make it seem as if we're crazy and that we're just complaining and that we're just making stuff up, no, you're not. This is your history. And I am going to do my best every single night to bring you information that I think is valuable, because it gives you talking points is what it does, right? When you know more, you have these talking points that you can refute stuff and be like, no, that's not it. And I do it all day. I do it for play, just going into different sites and commenting with people. But there were other ones, guys. But I want to talk about, have you guys heard about the White Declaration of Independence? How many people have heard about that? Because I'll be honest with you, I had never heard about it. And the reason I want to talk about it, it goes along with another massacre. And I don't want to talk about the massacre, but I want to talk about this White Declaration because it has a lot to do with voting. This is a way for you to know that in this country and what has happened through our history is that they'll have this amendment and they'll always find a way around it. Remember, I've already told you that they found their way around with the 13th Amendment when it comes to slavery. Now, you guys really thought, and we celebrated, they abolished slavery, but they didn't. Okay, I know that kind of may hurt some people, but it's real talk, and it's the truth, because there's an exception. You're free. You don't have to do slavery unless it's as punishment, And so they made sure that we were going to be punished by making sure we end up in prison. War on drugs, tough on crime, all this foolishness, law and order. Those are all trope kind of things. Those are dog whistles. And what that means to the people that know what it means is that it's time for us to be tough on black folks so we can lock them up so that we can get paid through their slavery efforts. I told you last night, there are people that are in prison and some of them don't even get paid. They don't have a choice. And some of them make like from 2 cents to 40 cents. Texas and Georgia, for those of you that are watching my show that are from those states, in your states, they don't pay them anything. Okay. The road you go to your fancy home, guaranteed, most likely it was built by people that are in prison. Okay. So if we have convicts, what do we need with slaves? They parallel. This is real, guys. And don't let people try to tell you, because all of this stuff that I'm telling you, you can go and find it just like I did. It is there. The people that are benefiting from it, your president who sits here and tries to, oh my goodness, let me talk about this. I got to talk about this. The lady, the Black History Month celebration, and apparently, allegedly, there were all these applauds and people were excited about seeing Trump. And the one lady says, I don't hear nothing about this racist stuff. And I just thought, I wonder if she knows that while she's up there praising him, he's secretly trying to strip her of her civil rights and her voting rights. Like he literally is trying to strip you of that. And you guys don't get so excited just because Trump wants to come around and now he wants to be nice to black folk and I'm going to help y'all celebrate your month. Okay, well, if you're going to do that, tell us something that you're going to do to combat what the Project 2025 is doing, because you said you don't know anything about that. But he lied, just like he lied that he was not going to that they were gonna go after immigrants who have committed crime, and that's what he was after. He lied about that. And I'm gonna tell you why he lied about that. He lied about that because then he can't satisfy all the money that he's been receiving from these donors. Trump has been getting, Trump, and not just him, a lot of the officials. Pam Bondi's been getting rich. Some of your elected officials, Democrat and Republicans, everybody got their hand out. You got people that are running for office, and these people are buying them left and right because they can afford to. They're buying them. And now when you got your elected official that you've just sat there and went to his town hall and he's told you all those lies about what he's going to do, he's going to do what he is told to do. And if he's been given donations from people that are the largest private prison companies, if they're getting money from them, they're going to have to meet their agenda so they can keep getting paid. They owe him. And Trump is no different. Like, he's in bed with them. They donated so much money to his campaign. He has to give them something. You know what he gave them? He gave them contracts. Your tax earned money that you have to work hard for, he's taking it and investing it in these companies and giving them contracts. So we're giving them a contract and we're still supporting them. And I thought it was great. I was one of the main ones that said, you know what? I loved what Pastor Jamal Bryant was doing, especially when it came to Target. I thought that was great. I thought it worked. I said, wow, imagine if we did this. Well, I think that if we really want to do something significant along with that, we need to make sure to target these companies that are getting paid off of this slave labor, this prison labor. So that's something I definitely want you guys to Google. Do not take my word for it. Go look it up yourself. Now, this white Declaration of Independence. The reason I want y'all to Google this so y'all can learn along with me. The success of this document served as a pilot program, if you will. It was like a pilot program for the rest of the American South. And when the federal government failed to intervene in the Wilmington massacre, and we're going to talk about that one next week. But I wanted to talk about this now because it has to do with voting. When they failed to do what they need to do in that, other states saw it. And they said, wow, okay, so if they did it, then we can get away with this and we can work our way around this 15th Amendment. Because you realize that the 15th Amendment is to make sure that you have the right to vote. That's what that one was for. Now, it's a shame that with this white Declaration of Independence, all that went out the water. They were like, oh, we got a loophole. Because it was set up for black men, freed black men who were previous slaves, to be able to have the right to vote and not be judged because they were slave or they're black or the race or anything like that. That's what the 15th Amendment was about. Well, these white folks came up with the white Declaration of Independence. And it was a formal written manifesto issued on November 9th, 1898 by a group of white businessmen. They always find a way around it, I'm telling you. Politicians, businessmen, and former Confederate officers. Now, it's a very chilling document. I was reading some of it and I just thought, wow, I see why they don't want to teach American history. Because if they tell the truth, then they're going to have to tell their sins. They're going to have to let people know that we were some racist, ugly, mean, cruel, hateful, despiteful, jealous, envious, angry people. Because we couldn't stand, because this is your truth. We're talking Black history, but our history is your history. Okay? You're part of it. If you're part of it, then it's your history too. But you couldn't stand to see Black people prosper. Guys, I want y'all to think about it. If they went through all this trouble to try to keep you down and to eliminate your generational wealth, what does that tell you? I'm going to give you guys just a small comparison. Let's say you got a robber and he's going to the bank. Do you think he's going to give a squat about a bank that ain't got no money in it? No, he's going to rob that bank because there's something in there he wants. And that's exactly what these white supremacists are after. They're not after us because we don't mean anything or that we're not capable of taking over this world. They're after us because they know we can, because they know we did. So if we did it one time, we could do it again. They were intimidated about Nat Turner. Why? Because they saw the power that one man could make a difference and he can lead his people to rebel against them. They don't want that. So they felt like, well, we'll find a way to stop them. We're going to stop these niggers. We're going to talk. We're going to stop them. We got to do whatever we got to do. You can't read. We're not going to let you read anymore. Well, you can't assemble anymore in church. They were coming up with everything they thought that brought us together. Think about that. And when they see us not unified, then they know that they can keep that wedge between us. Because remember, I know y'all say the Willie Lynch letter was some kind of fantasy, but it was on point. They knew we got to keep Black folks angry and we got to keep them fighting against each other. Look at the country, the world today. Are we fighting against each other? Are we angry at each other? Do we come together on anything? Have we stopped killing each other? Have we learned how to work together to create and generate generational wealth? Do we listen to people that try to tell us? Do we keep going and putting all our money trying to look rich instead of being rich? These are the kind of things we got to deal with. This has nothing to do with them. This is about us. This is something we got to deal with. So these stories are meant to get us to thinking and say, wow, they could do it. They can have generational wealth. If they can go and buy land. Because I hear a lot of people that come on this broadcast in the comments, and I know Kim is one, Crystal is one, and I hear a lot of what they say is invest, property, ownership, all of those kinds of things. Yeah, I see it now. I 1000% see it now, especially in all these stories, because that seems to be the thread that goes through all of them. But this thing was, let's go back to that. The document was an ultimatum, okay? It was an ultimatum. And in 1898, Wilmington was a majority Black city with a fusion government, okay? They had it where the Blacks and whites were working together. That's what the fusion means. They were working together. But the white elites, who call themselves the Secret Nine, y'all Google that, they wrote this declaration to state that Black rule was over. They just couldn't stand for us to have any say-so or just use our brain. Like, I guess they just thought we were just good for one thing or something. I don't know. But they just couldn't stand it. They stated they would never again be governed by men of African origin. They said the press must be silenced. Ooh, history repeating itself. The press must be silenced. They ordered the city's Black newspaper, the Daily Record, to be shut down and its editor, Alex Manley, to be banished. Property and jobs were to be seized. They demanded that Black citizens step down from their jobs so they could be given to white men. Y'all don't hear me. Okay? And we had the right to vote when this was going on. I want you to pay attention, because that's why I'm giving you dates. We had the right to vote at this point. They didn't care. You get it? It took the Voting Rights Act to turn all this kind of stuff around. That's what it took. Okay? So just because you have, we got civil rights on the book, but do we really have civil rights? Are we really being treated fairly? Come on. This is your thing. So I wanted to know, because I know you guys want to know too. So what happened is they wanted these white men to get these jobs. The document gave the Black community less than 24 hours. Because remember, this document is an ultimatum. They gave them less than 24 hours to comply. All right, your niggers got 24 hours, and we just gonna take over. They had 24 hours to comply. And I'm saying that because this is their mindset. Okay, back then. Now, when the response didn't arrive fast enough, a mob of 2,000 armed white men used the document as their legal justification to burn the newspaper office and begin murdering Black residents. And we had the right to vote. They didn't care. So I wanted to know, well, when was the last time this was used? Like, this is old, right? This doesn't exist anymore. And this is what I got, a response. This is a complex question, Ella, because while the physical document was specific to Wilmington in 1898, its strategy was used for decades afterward. Oh, you mean to tell me they're passing this thing along. Yeah, that's why we talked about policing. When you see police today, 2026, roughing up African Americans, it's because the slave patrols taught them their methods. Okay, you had police officers in those days that were also KKK members. You had police officers that when you got out of jail, they were literally turning you over to the lynch mob to kill you. Now they were supposed to protect and serve. Okay. Well, Ella, didn't they have black people in the force? They couldn't do anything. They had no control. They had no power. They couldn't speak. This is real in the United States. These United States. All right. So this specific document was the legal trigger for the Wilmington massacre coup. Once the coup was successful, the men who signed it took over the government and immediately passed laws to disenfranchise black voters. Pass laws to disenfranchise black voters. So you're telling me then that with the way that people think, the way your president thinks, and anyone that works under him, how they think, don't you think their policies are going to emulate that? Yeah. So when people say that your president is racist, it's because of the policies he's implementing. And if you don't know what those are, then you're definitely behind. And see what Trump is doing, and I think he's doing a great job. I really think he's doing a great job of is keeping us distracted. While we're over here worrying about Nicki Minaj and worrying about what all these celebrities are doing and saying and all the best line dancing. I'm a fan of line dancing, but right now we need to start reading and finding out what's going on, what this administration is really doing. If you really want to know, go to Project 2025 tracker. We talked about it last night. These guys are 51% in. What does that mean, Ella? That means that they have set goals for themselves. They want to finish this up. They got to get everything as much in before they start losing and they lose the House and the Senate. They're trying to get as much in. Well, they're 51% right now. Well, Ella, what kinds of stuff are they implementing? Oh, you should look at the DOJ. You should look at the stuff they got in the works that's coming down the pipe of what kind of laws they're trying to put in place. Broken windows. I talked about that one last night. I don't want to go back into all that. You guys got to watch the show from last night. But they're bringing stuff back is my point. That's what Project 2025. So when he says we're trying to make America great again, what he's talking about, and nobody ever can answer what era you're talking about, right? Haven't you guys asked that? Like when you hear people say, we're going to make America great again. I'm sure you've wondered, what era are you talking about? Was it the time when we were slaves? Was it the time we couldn't vote? When women couldn't vote? When you had slave patrols? Like what time, what era is it? Where are we talking about? Watch Project 2025 and you'll know the answer to that. Because I can assure you, it is nothing about being equal to us. It's nothing about hearing our voice and wanting to know if we want to vote, how we want to vote. They don't care about that. Civil rights, they've already implemented, or they're trying to implement, where your civil rights division is going to be handled with criminal division. They've already made sure that white people know that, hey, listen, you go ahead and start filing claims, because the civil rights, when that was implemented, that hurt white people. Are you kidding me? So this is the kind of stuff that's going on when you're not in the know. And he's not going to talk about it. He's going to come to your Black History celebrations and he's going to make you think he's about you. And the one time you ask him questions, well, sir, why are you so dead set on all my people going to prison so you guys can make money off of them? Like, what is that? I thought you believed in reform. Okay. All right. It was used as a blueprint also for Jim Crow. Uh-oh. You mean to tell me this white Declaration of Independence, it's going on? Yeah. The success of the white Declaration of Independence provided the blueprint for the rest of the South. Other cities saw that they could use violence and declarations of white supremacy to, watch this, strip Black people of the constitutional rights without federal interference. I'm going to say that again. They now know that with the success of this white Declaration of Independence, because one thing they are going to do is they're going to repeat it. If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. Okay. I'm talking about y'all. I'm not talking about them. They know it. I'm talking about us. We need to know what questions to ask So these are the kind of things that I'm empowering you with. So you know, wait a minute, I remember on Ella's show when she talked about this, and they're trying to do that now. Okay. It's true. It's true. They're trying to strip Black people of their constitutional rights without federal interference. This led to the grandfather clauses and poll taxes that lasted until the Voting Rights of 1965. So it took all that time for them to finally get some stuff. Now, there's some stuff I want to talk about. What time is it? Okay. I am a little disturbed because there's some things that I hear us say, and I'm like, why do we talk like that? Well, Ella, what are you talking about? Okay, I want to make some references to some people that we all talk about. And Uncle Tom. Yeah, I just gotta mention this. It's Black History Month. You hear so many people we call each other Uncle Tom, and putting one another down as if what you're saying when you call somebody an Uncle Tom, you're saying that you're more concerned about the white way of doing things. You're more concerned about them than you are your own people. So you're an Uncle Tom. Well, I'm going to give you all some history right here tonight on the Ella Johnson Show. Black people do not call other people Black Uncle Tom until you now understand what the meaning is. That negative side of Uncle Tom didn't come from us. It didn't come from the real Uncle Tom. It came from white people. They didn't like that he was a martyr, so they had to make him look like an idiot and make him look like some slovenly old man who got no teeth in his mouth and he's just downridden. That is not the real Uncle Tom. Let me tell you, we've all heard this insult. We've seen it thrown around in heated debates, but tonight we're going to talk about the man behind the name. Did you know that the real Uncle Tom died because he refused to whip another Black person? Yeah, the real Uncle Tom died because they wanted him to beat and do things to his own people, and he refused to do it. So to keep from giving up these women that they wanted him to give up or beat up or whatever, he wouldn't do it. And because of it, they killed him. They beat him to death. So when you hear Uncle Tom, he was not someone that was all about the white race. White people did that. They wanted him to be that because they always put a spin on everything. For crying out loud, if they did it to Jesus, they're going to do it to Tom. They did it to Jesus. Yes. Well, what do you mean they did it to Jesus? Because they made him white. And if they can read, I don't know, maybe they couldn't read, maybe they couldn't read, but I'm sure some of them could. And I'm sure they saw in there that what they painted was not a depiction of what was in that Bible. So they had to make him be pure. So they made him be white. This Black man, they needed to make him look like a tard, an idiot, a dummy. So they didn't want him to look like a martyr. So they're the ones that made him as if he was someone that revered them, had reverence for them, that he honored them. They came up with that. So please, that's one. Stop calling your brothers and sisters uncle unless they did something good. Uncle Tom was a positive figure, not negative. Okay? So when we repeat that, we are just repeating what they created. And let's not do that, please. Aunt Jemima, this is another one. I got two more guys, then I'm getting out of here. I'm going to let y'all go tonight, right? Aunt Jemima is the most famous example of the mommy archetype, the fiction of a Black woman who was overweight, desexualized, completely obsessed with serving her white family while ignoring her own. Now, the name Aunt Jemima comes directly from a blackface minstrel song, Old Aunt Jemima. I haven't heard it, but this is what it's saying. And it's where a white man in drag played a caricatured Black cook. Okay? The real person was Nancy Green. That was her name. And in 1890, the company hired her because she was born into slavery in Kentucky. Yeah, she was born into slavery. She became the first living trademark. Now, check this out. Nancy Green used her corporate salary to become a major activist and philanthropist in Chicago, fighting the very poverty and racism her character was used to ignore. Y'all got to know the truth about these things. I'm telling you. That's why I wanted to talk about that. So I hope that you guys got something out of this broadcast. I'm not going to talk about the other one I had, which was Uncle Ben. I'm not going to talk about him. But I just wanted you guys to get something. Now, are you guys familiar with the update on what's going on in Atlanta? I know when you guys see the news and you see all this stuff going on, it's overwhelming. I get it. That's why I'm here, is to make it a lot more bearable by me just kind of breaking it down for you. And what's going on in Atlanta, we've seen this before. You may not have seen it because you may be too young to have seen it, but I guarantee you it's happened. Politicians, they will do whatever they have to do to win. Now, this is me. This is my explanation of what's going on. I think that what's happening here is that Trump is scared. He knows he's losing. He knows his policies are not popular. People don't like the stuff he's done. I mean, he does some foolish stuff like every other day. He says something dumb like every other day. And it's always, he can't help it. If he's going to say something racist, he can't help it. What's out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if you are speaking racism, guess where it came from? Your heart. I ain't say that. The Bible said it. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever you come out of your mouth is in your heart. So if you're saying racist things, you're racist. Just saying. Makes sense to me. So he's losing. He was losing in Atlanta. He wanted those ballots. He needed this. He needs to see what's going on with him. If you really, really want to try to keep non-citizens from voting, you would first of all think, let's go to the area where this is happening. How many times is this happening? You notice you never hear anybody talk about that. They're always talking about we're just trying to keep the right people voting. Right people. Did you say right people or white people? Which one did you mean? Right people? Who are the right people? See, when I heard Chrissy Nome say that, I went ding, ding, ding. That's why they need those voter rolls, because they need the right people voting. She was right. She ain't lie. She may not can move her face, but she didn't lie right then. Okay. She meant exactly what she said. They're going to get these voter rolls. This is just my alleged assumption. They're going to get these voter rolls and they're going to go through there and they're going to purge people they think that shouldn't be voting. Their name looks weird or whatever the case may be. They are demanding these states turn this over. Now, what is the newest information at Fulton? Let me give you guys an update and then I'm going to get out of here. Fulton, as of 2/17, okay, they filed a scathing amended motion saying that the raid is a flagrant constitutional violation, and they're demanding immediate return of those ballot boxes. Okay, I can't believe they don't have them yet. I was shocked when I saw that they haven't. I mean, like, well, how long is it going to take? Like, come on. Like, really? You would think that there would have to be a probable cause. Maybe it's in the warrant. I don't know if we have access to the warrant to see what was your probable cause for going in here and doing this without giving some kind of notification. Like, look, guys, we need to get our hand on this. Oh, but wait a minute. I think he did do that, but he was denied some things. So they had to do it this way. But anyway, I'm not going to re-talk that conversation. I just want you guys to see, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what's being said. Okay. If you can't handle being in social media and talking and listening to people try to talk you down about your beliefs, 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't really know history either. They don't really know what's going on. They're just listening to Trump. And then they're mad at Democrats. They're painting us as the boogeyman. They're painting us as the bad part. Listen, Democrats, look at your leaders. They don't want people to vote right. What are they trying to do? Cheat. Y'all know that ain't what it is. It is not just about ID. This is not about that. This is about Trump getting a loophole to be able to nationalize the elections. He said it himself. He's that crazy that he'll even tell you the crime he's trying to do if you just pay attention. He wants to nationalize. It's unconstitutional. Okay. The other night, I told you guys about this guy, Chris Korbach, over in Kansas. how he actually was the first one. He's the architect of the SAVE Act. He's the architect of it. He's the one that taught Trump how to do it. But you know what happened to him? He failed. It didn't work. The judge was like, we shut it down. They struck it down. Now, he was able to get in there at first until the ACLU sued him. And then they came in and they were like, no, you can't do this. This is unconstitutional. And besides, you don't even have enough people that are non-citizens voting for us to even warrant doing this. The hell? Right? So when they keep talking about that this is a problem, make them prove it. And I guarantee you that conversation will end. Because, I mean, Trump is still talking about an election was rigged. He ain't proved it yet. Okay? So just pay attention to that, guys. But I'm going to get out of here. And one more thing about Atlanta, too. The NAACP and ACLU filed an amicus brief along with that motion that Fulton County filed. And what that means is, what they're saying is like, look, we may not have a part in this lawsuit, but by us filing that brief, it means that we have a strong interest or we may have some information to add. Okay, so that's what that means. I just wanted to give that. All right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here. I've enjoyed this being here by myself tonight. I didn't know if I was going to be able to sit here and just talk by myself, but I'm like, oh, are you kidding? You'd love to talk. Of course you can do it. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in and for watching and sticking with me. I hope you learned something. But I will not be here tomorrow night. I'm going to be resting up because on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be a great time here in the Ella Johnson Show. I'm going to put the link for the show so y'all can go ahead and subscribe to my channel and get ready for it. Save the date, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It's Alabama history. Now, you know I got to give my state 2 days. Okay? I just got to do it. It's only right. So we're going to be talking Alabama history. I'm bringing some of my friends from Alabama here. If you would like to be a part of this, it's not too late. Just let me know, okay? Just say, hey, Ella, I may not could do both days, but I'd love to get on the panel, share what I've learned about Black history, because you may know a lot of stuff I don't know. And the more the merrier. I am, it's not too late. So if you would like to be a part of that, please do so. But I want you to mark the calendar. Be back here Saturday night, 7, not 8:30, 7. I know I switch the time sometimes, but this topic I don't want to start late because I know people have to get up and go to church. And I know that on Sunday you have to get up and go to work the next day. So I want to be mindful of that, but I want to get it in. I want you guys here. I want you to share the broadcast when I post it. It's Alabama history. We're going to break it down in sections because, I mean, if there's any place that's got some real Black history, it's the South, Alabama. It's kind of where the civil rights movement began. So we're going to talk all day. We've been talking all month, Black history. We're going to be talking 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. All right, guys. So I love y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with me. And I will see you again on Saturday night. Have a great Friday. Be safe. Stay warm out there. Oh, I just forgot. I didn't remind you guys that my grandson was born. If you haven't seen it on Facebook, his name is Messiah. He is adorable. And I am just, as a grandmom, you're just done. Yeah, he is just too precious. But I want y'all to continue to pray for me, pray for my family, that we will guide this baby in the ways of Christ. All right. So y'all have a great night, and I'll see you next time on the Ella Johnson Show. Good night. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.